the back foot, tried to crack it through the offside, but head in the air after the shot as he just punched it straight to northeast. So 6 off the over, 112 without loss after 23. Kenneth will give way to Mike Taylor, as Harry Podmore will go into his 7th over from the Dyfed Road end. It's getting slightly humid, slightly muggy now at the moment. 112 for naught. Yates 47. Barnard has 60. Podmore into ball to Yates, who gets one off a leading edge, almost pops up to Gully, but Yates survives, just short of his half century as well. Mike Taylor back with us.
That's the first ball in a little while that's done something. Just popped a bit from Podmore, who has had a little bit of rough treatment today. Gone for 31 in this is 6th over. He'll try again to the left-handed Yates, only the wicketkeeper close catching, and he goes back and hits this square on the offside out to Gorvin, protecting the boundary, and they take 1 and are freewheeling along quite nicely at the moment now, with Yates starting to open up as well. Yeah,
it's must be a happy atmosphere in the visitors' dressing room at the moment. They've survived the early difficult stages. They've judged the wicket and they've played it very nicely indeed.
Now to take advantage of it, because the batting conditions look as though they're going to be good for the rest of the day now. He's turned off his pad by Barnard for 1. Out to Gorvin again, who is either deep point or deep square leg, depending on whether it's the left-hander or right-hander on strike. But either way, he's being kept busy. 114 for no wicket. And whatever score they had in mind when they walked down to 11 o'clock, I imagine they've got more in mind now. Now they've had a proper look at it. Bat goes mid-off to long-off. Long on, rather, with the left-hander on strike. Here's Podmore. And Yates is turning a ball off his pads, very fine, and gets 1 down to long leg.
Yeah, the traffic around the ground, spectators has now dropped after the early stages when people are charging around frantically in search of a seat, but I think there's 1 or 2 have not been successful.
Yeah. There's a few on that little slope that we can see over on the far side towards the rugby ground. Get a bit warm on that tarmac later. Here's Podmore bowling to Barnard, who I think he's telling himself off for mistiming that. He just practices another stroke after pushing it away into the offside.
Yeah, it shows the difficulties, doesn't it? It's not really coming on very much, and although the pitch has been well covered all week, might have sweated slightly as a result of that, and be a little bit soft on top.
115 for none, and Barnard is playing this from the crease, but he's timed it quite nicely and he'll just get a run. Carlson did well to get one hand on it, scampered after the loose ball and threw down the stumps at the non-striker's end, but by then Barnard had made his ground and takes a single to finish the over of 4 singles, and it's 116 for none, 24. Barnard is playing this from the crease,
by
timed
Carlson,
it quite nicely, and he'll
even
just
he
get a run.
Collect it cleanly on the first attempt. Hit the middle stump on the turn from about 20 metres away.
Do you remember when we were kids, Nick? If somebody threw the stumps were hit by a fielder once all day, then you went home saying you'd seen something, and now it's done routinely.
Yeah, you'd expect almost them to hit it at least every other time from there. A full toss from Callaway as the batsman charges down the wicket, and Barnard will get a single there. Looking to open up, obviously. Unfortunately for him, he punched that one straight to one of the infielders. 117 without loss. 25th over. As that's again slightly over pitched, and again they'll hurry through for the single. And this time Rob Yates gets the ball as he's gone through for the single that makes up his half century, and it's come off 74 balls, so slightly slower than his partner, but valuable nonetheless, and he's hit 5 4s and 1 6.
It's taken him a little bit of a while to find his timing, Rob Yates, but now he's got great power to add.
As Barnard plays, I think that was a reverse, wasn't it? And the umpire's still called wide. Strange. Callaway in. Barnard drives straight to northeast at short cover. No run. Shovels it straight back to the bowler. Lovely sunny day here in the southwest of Wales. As Barnard goes back, tries to cut, tries to dab it away on the offside, but was instead whacked on the gloves. There might have been a little bit of turn there for Callaway.
Yes, I think you can be a little bit too clever. Ed Barnard was hopping about all over the place there and trying to manufacture a stroke. He's got a sore finger for his trouble.
Yeah, trying to play it fine of third man, I think. Now he comes down the wicket and has gone high and handsome over the scoreboard. That one soaring a big, big blow up over long off. And Barnard fine of third man, I think. Now he comes down the wicket and has gone high and handsome over the scoreboard. Fine of third man, I think. Now he comes down the wicket and has gone high and handsome.
Trying to manufacture something clever, whack it down the ground. It's a lovely easy strike.
50 to Yates, 69 now to Barnard. Callaway shows the ball to the umpire in an effort to get it changed, which is unsuccessful. Next ball is driven back to him. There is no run. Callaway takes his cap in a somewhat chastened manner from the umpire, and there will be a drinks break at the 25 over mark, halfway through. 125 for naught. Yates is 50, Barnard is 69, and Warwickshire very firmly in the ascendancy.
Yes, and it's a bit awkward now for Kieran Carlson, looking at where he's going to go around with his bowlers, because both he and Callaway, the two slow bowling options so far, have evidently not caused any trouble, and runs have flowed even more freely in their short spells so far. 24 from Carlson's 2 and 16 from Callaway's 2 overs. So he's going to have a few overs to find here. Van der Houten bowled 6. Podmore's had 6. But if the fifth bowler overs might end up having to be shared around a bit if neither Carlson nor Callaway are going to be able to put a break on the scoring.
You might even be thinking, who's the next option in line? Probably Tom Bevan or Billy Root. Bevan has bowled a little bit in second 11. Root bowled a little bit in the closing stages of the championship match at Derbyshire, which was when the game had long been written off as a draw, and Root, one to go down in Wisdom, one hopes, bowled 5 balls of right arm off spin and bowled the 6th ball of his over slow left arm.
Hey.
Which apparently Ben Callaway is capable of bowling left arm as well. He hasn't done so in earnest, I don't think, but apparently he can bowl left arm spin.
Well, he might get asked to at this rate, 'cause I'm not sure too many others will be forming a queue the way it's been going so far. Warwickshire with a great deal of power to add at going at 5 and over at the moment. 125 for none in 25. And Will Rhodes and Michael Burgess be eager to get their turn, I suspect. After that, Hamza Sheikh, a 17-year-old, a local club cricket product with Gnoll and Dorridge Club, I think now, Hamza Sheikh. Kai Smith, who another youngster who was in the competition last year. Ethan Brooks.
You wonder if Rhodes might even be tempted to bump those youngsters up the order, given that they're in such a good position, and say have a bat with absolutely no pressure on.
He might, but with the captain himself due in first drop, he might want to be first in the queue.
Quite.
If there's runs to be had. We'll see. Anyway, Podmore is going to resume after the drinks break.
Apparently there was a little fiddling with the bails by the Glamorgan fielders during that break. I'll ask Stuart Broad.
It's all the rage. Podmore is going to see if it works. Not yet. Yates has turned the first ball off his pads to get 1 run down to deep fine leg. He is 51 and Barnard 69, continuing this super run, finding some form. Not been in the forefront of Warwickshire's efforts so far this season since making the move, but very much finding the opening spot in this competition to his liking so far, and he's straight away looking for an attacking stroke after the drinks break, and he square drives for 4 here. Was pitched up by Harry Podmore outside the off stump, and Barnard hasn't needed much width in this innings so far. He's 73 the opening spot in this competition to his liking so far.
Timed the ball very nicely,
straight away,
considering
for an attacking stroke after the
conditions. Not really coming on with any great speed, so he's had to do the work to get those boundaries.
Here's Podmore again, and this is a little bit shorter, and Barnard goes back and throws his head back as he runs down taking the single. I think he thinks he missed out a bit there.
He's done that a few times in this innings, Ed Barnard. Having got going, he obviously thinks he ought to be going faster, but he's going very nicely.
94 at Taunton, 36 against Gloucestershire at Edgbaston, and now this contribution of 74 so far for Barnard, 131 for none. Podmore bowls, and Yates is defending from the crease here in very compact fashion. Up to Carlson.
Yeah, it's the time where you start checking the stats. Do you know offhand whether he's got a one-day century at Barnard?
Not immediate. I suspect he might well do, but not for Warwickshire. This is his first season with the county. And a nice time to announce he's made some progress. No, he hasn't.
Yeah.
85, his best effort.
Before he's 94. Yeah.
Well, of course, yes, 94 the other day. And he's at the non-striker's end here before watching Yates guide this to Kellaway at backward point. Hasn't quite found the gaps as adeptly, Rob Yates, but he has accelerated. And over when he hit 3 boundaries off Carlson, kick-started things for Rob Yates. He's waiting with a slightly open stance for Podmore. And turns the ball off his pads for another comfortable run. So the first over after drinks brings another 7 runs to Warwickshire, 132 without loss in 26. 52 Yates, 74 Ed Barnard, and I wonder now if they're starting to think towards 300. It'd be a chase to get there, but they've got plenty of ammunition to do it.
Yeah, having scored at 5 and over in the first half of the innings, 7 and over would therefore get them to 300. They got the 7 in that over, and they don't seem to be taking too many risks, or ridiculous risks anyway, in the process. So Callaway is going to continue for the time being. We're going to have to get at least the 10 overs out of the spinners. And Callaway and Carlson between them are going to have to do that. Podmore's now bowled 7, Van der Hoogten 6 of the frontline seamers, as that one's driven through the offside by Yates, beats the diving Byram at wide mid-off, and that's run away for 4. And Callaway just seems to be over-pitching at the moment, and they're easily turning them into full tosses. Driven through the offside by Yates, beats the diving Byram at wide mid-off.
Picked off by both Barnard and Yates. A lot of pressure on a young bowler when you're not finding your length. First ball, the over's gone to the boundary.
He's lost his rhythm now, or Yates wasn't ready to receive. Not quite sure who pulled out the first there. Callaway bowling around the wicket. That's flatter, driven hard by Yates, but fielded well by Carlson at cover. And there's no run. Callaway's got natural height, but that's fired in again and played away on the offside by Yates for a single. So Callaway taking no risks after over pitching. Learning on the job, as it were. Ben Callaway, the 19-year-old. Alex Horton, also 19, behind the stumps, and delighted to get a run of games in this competition with no Chris Cook. Cut away nicely by Barnard. There's a bit of a chase by Gorvin, but he gets there easily enough in front of us on the backward point boundary and keeps them down to a single. The ball is not flying over the outfield, and there is a rather soft patch in front of the pavilion. Callaway bowls to Yates, who tries to force backward of square, succeeds in doing so. It's a chase for root and for the sweeper, but neither will get there. And the ball is picked up by off patch in front of the pavilion. Glamorgan squad players in passing. To Yates, who tries to force backward of square, succeeds in doing so. It's a chase for root and for the sweeper, but neither will get there. Off this over from Ben Callaway, as he's into bowl, and that's more of the same, but a tumbling stop there at backward point by Podmore, who's gone down slightly awkwardly there, I think. Did well to get to it.
Well, that's the last thing Glamorgan need at this point, when they're already struggling to find overs, is to have one of their bowlers fall awkwardly. I think he's all right. Bit stiff.
Yeah, it's a pat on the bat from Billy Root, but 143 without loss, 26 overs as Callaway. Hang on, both umpires are it is the end of the over. The umpire very slow to move away from the stumps.
Well, Root might have patted him on the back by saying, I hope you're all right, because otherwise I might have to bowl, but he doesn't look great walking. I think he's going to come off for a moment, Harry Podmore. And he's walking rather awkwardly off the field.
Jardine maybe as he went down.
Yeah, he just fell a little bit awkwardly. He's quite a big guy, isn't he,
yeah.
Harry Podmore? So
he's not looking happy with life as well. He might not. Carted round a little bit and then injured.
Well, if he doesn't come back, another 3 overs they've got to be found from somewhere. But Zain Al Hassan has quickly jumped to it to replace him for now at the Difford Road end, and starts his second spell with a ball pitched up to Yates, who's positive in defence. He's moving into it but pushes it up to Carlson on the offside. Hassan fouled 4 sprightly overs earlier for 17. Got a couple past the outside edge, but without finding the breakthrough.
Podmore now making his way into the pavilion for a bit of treatment from the physio.
Al Hassan around the wicket, only a little bit short, and Yates has got on that very early and pulled it away for 4 runs. That really wasn't very short, but Yates was in position so quickly.
Bit of treatment from the physio. Well, Warwickshire have
Al
these
Hassan
batters
around the
using
wicket,
their
only
feet
a little
well
bit
to come
short.
down the
Yates
wicket
has
and
got on that very early
turn
and
things into full tosses. And if Glamorgan goes shorter, the ball isn't coming through off the surface, and they're able to sit back and take their time in playing it.
No hiding place at the moment. 147 for none. Al Hassan coming round the wicket to the left-hander, who guides this on the bounce. Loud shout of no. Was it straight to Callaway at backward point? This is Al Hassan's 5th over. Van der Houten has bowled 6. Gorvin 5. And Podmore 7 so far. And then 5 between the 2 spinners. Kieran Carlson, still much captaincy. I know he's obviously in for this competition with David Lloyd away. Here's Al Hassan around the wicket. And this is just drifting onto his pants, and it's picked off for 4 backward of square leg by Yates, who was again on it very early, and his second boundary in the over.
Yeah, a bit of a teapot from Ol-Hassan. It's Kieran Carlson's third season in charge of this competition, so it was always scheduled that he was going to be in charge for this. But he also had to do the entire T20 blast and a handful of championship games when David Lloyd was out injured for a couple of months with a hamstring injury that proved a lot worse than we originally thought.
Yes, that was unfortunate. Here's Al-Hassan bowling to Yates, who's already picked up 2 boundaries in this over, so he's happy to push this away square on the offside.
And Glamorgan could probably do with a few overs from David Lloyd at the moment, even if their batting lineup is reasonably strong.
But you were saying you'd be back by, at the end of this competition from his loan?
That is very much the intention.
Round the wicket comes Al-Hassan, and Yates is forcing this with good timing. Away through the covers for 1. Gorvin comes into field. And it's the end of another over. 9 more picked up by Warwickshire, who've gone to 152 for no wicket in 28 overs. Yates' share of that, he's almost caught up with Ed Barnard for the first time. He's 71 and Barnard 75.
So, yes, I did double check that with the Glamorgan director of cricket, Sir Mark Wallace, the other day, and he said yes, David Lloyd will be back for those championship games. Glamorgan aimed at promotion. Lloyd was leading those efforts, and that is still the case. So Will Smale on as a sub-fielder. Doesn't have a number in this competition. They weren't quite sure whether he's going to play a part, but he has been the reserve batter. So Carlson is going to have another crack, this time from the Oakwood Road end at 152 for naught, bowling to Yates on 71 not out and driving nicely through the offside. There'll be at least 1, but it's well fielded on the boundary, and they'll settle for the single as the aroma of hot dogs and burgers starts drifting towards us temptingly from the van behind us.
Long game, and it's 50 overs in innings.
As that one's just dropped on the leg side by Barnard. He'll pick up a single as Callaway dashes backwards from close mid-wicket to do the fielding. 154 without loss. 29th over out of the 50. And Warwickshire in full flow as Yates steps back, guides that one into the offside. That one will be just the single. Tom Bevan is the fielder out in the far distance on the mid-wicket stroke cover boundary in front of the back of the rugby stand, if you see what I mean. Carlson bowls, Barnard just plays it comfortably up towards long on. Single taken. In comes Carlson again, bowling to Yates on the back foot this time. Good delivery that has him rather tucked up and playing back to the bowler. 156 without loss here underneath sunshine. As that's wide outside off stump and is called a wide. Did you make your way down this morning, or did you enjoy a night in the area?
This morning,
yeah,
and it was a lovely ride actually. This morning was good choice.
Carlson into Yates, who hits over mid-off, 1 bounce, 2 bounces, goes away for 4 runs, deliberately placed mid-off up in the circle, Eddie Byram, and Yates opening his shoulders and planting it over the infield, raced away for 4 Yates, more. Who hits since the break. Mid-off, 1 bounce, 2 bounces, goes away for 4. Batters a power of good. They've accelerated into Yates, who hits over 36 off the 4 overs since the break. 1 bounce, 2 bounces, goes away for 4. 29 overs.
And maybe they have just recalibrated a bit in the break and said, OK, what are we looking for now? But they're bound to be thinking 300.
300 plus now, yeah. If they're scoring 8 and 9 and over.
And there's some encouragement for Glamorgan in that, in a way, because
Might be able to take more wickets more easily.
Well, there's that too, but
It's a bit late.
a score of 300 is not necessarily insurmountable if the batting conditions are going to be good. But there's a long way to go before that. For Zain Ul Hassan, first of all, who is going to start the 30th over, and Barnard defends off the back foot. Back up the pitch. He set the pace in the start of the innings. He was the first to try playing attacking strokes, but he's chosen them well. He's neither of the batters have really taken any outrageous liberties. There've been enough runs anyway. Ul Hassan sprints in, and this is just drifting onto the pads. It might even have hit the pad. What's the umpire's signal? I thought for a moment he'd signal wide. He has signaled wide.
What?
So it must
have been the keeper's pads.
Wicket-keeper's pads.
Yeah,
it definitely hit something on the way through. So that's 2 wide because they've gone through for 1 in addition to the penalty. So 163 for none. And Ul Hassan, he's quickly onto it. And again, he drops only a bit short. And for the 3rd time in 2 overs, Yates goes back and pulls for 4 runs. And there really is very little margin of error in being short for Zain Ul Hassan.
Yeah, so you can imagine that Colin Ingram, wherever he's
drops only a bit short,
thinking,
and for the 3rd time in 2 overs,
he's fit to play on these conditions.
Well, the boundary might not be big enough for Colin Ingram, but alas, he isn't fit to play. Here's Ul Hassan, pitches it up, and forward comes Yates to square drive to Kellaway, and there's no run. Warwickshire in complete command in a competition in which they've started very well with 2 wins and building what they hope is going to be a very imposing total at 167 for none in the 30th over. They couldn't be better placed. Back goes Yates, and again he picks out Kellaway. I think there have been times where in this innings where Yates just found it a little bit hard to avoid the fielders. But he's 81. He's gone ahead of Ed Barnard for the first time, so not much reason for complaint. Ul Hassan is going to change the field here. He's going to bring us the mid-wicket. He's going to go out to the rope as well, which means he's going to have to give up his 3rd man on the boundary. He's come inside the circle, so got much margin outside the off stump now, and Yates pushes in for a quick single. Carlson is the fielder he takes on. And although it was a good throw right next to the bails, Ed Barnard arriving horizontal. He's there just in time, and it's 168 for none. Yates is up to 82, and Barnard's got to attempt to pack that in. Got much margin outside the off
point, Kenneth Davis will come in to replace me.
Siren ball of the Burgers, I think. It's trying to no, not yet. Ul Hassan is on his way, and Barnard tries the scoop and misses it, and he's disappointed, but not as disappointed as the wicket-keeper Alex Horton, who was hit quite a painful blow there. That's worse for the wicket-keeper than it was for the batter.
Yeah, wincing in pain is Alex Horton, 168 for no wickets, and not much to report, unfortunately, from a Glamorgan point of view in the bowling department.
No, other than is going to be a bit short of options here. We're just seeing a replay for those watching the screen. It's possible that Barnard might even have got a bit on that, but
just went for the ramp, didn't he? Missed timed, and it went through, and he's taken a glancing blow as Alex Horton, and he's just taking his time here. But they've, since I was on last with yourself, Mike, Warwickshire have pushed on, and the run rate is now over 5. 168 for no wicket, with a fair bit of batting to come.
Yeah, they'll be very disappointed if it doesn't finish over 6, I reckon, from here. Yates is 82, and he's the one taking the initiative now. but Carlson's first ball to him is full and straight, and he drives it back. Sorry, I'm butchering on. In fact, I'm going to have to disappear to do an update in a few moments.
Updates everywhere.
Yes.
Carlson in, and that's cut into the offside. There's a man at deep extra cover. Yates 83 from 99. Barnard 77. So Yates has overtaken Barnard. It was the other way around at the start of this innings.
It's the first time he's got in front.
Barnard 77 in 84 as Carlson starts his short run-up. Has to check, come back. There's a bit of movement in the crowd. Barnard not quite happy. Now he takes guard. Carlson coming in. Off-break bowler. Firmly driven. Past Carlson. It'll be stopped. There's a man at long on. There's a fumble. And luckily it's just saved at the last second before going over the boundary.
Poor Eddie Byram. Those are horrible, aren't they? Where it suddenly spins on about the 5th bounce. And it can make you look silly, but he rescued it. No harm done.
No harm done, yes. Eddie Byram. The man out at long on. Long off now with a left handed bat, and that's over the cover for 4. Or will it be? Will the man Byram is going to cut it off, coming around from long off rather, and it's hurled back.
Took a bit of a chance there, Rob Yates. He's in the air, but it scorched past Billy Kellaway's outstretched hand. He's quite close in there for the miscued drive rather than something hit off the back foot.
Still glorious conditions. 2 taken. Yates on strike, moves on to 85 now. Carlson, and yes, flirting. I thought it was going to be called wide. It is.
It's just the odd ball that's popped a bit.
That is in the air, but it's going to evade the man comfortably at long on for a 6. Carlson being punished severely.
Well, runs anywhere they want them now, and with so many wickets in hand, they can afford to take more risks in the closing overs. Not that they've had to do anything outrageous so far.
That is in the air, but it's going to evade the man comfortably at long on for a 6 position. Nick also providing an update for BBC Radio Wales. Carlson Fuller, and that's smacked firmly, and that's gone way over the boundary for 6. Yates has got his eye in. 97 now from 102 is nearing his century. Nick also providing another expensive for BBC Radio Wales. Carlson Fuller, over, and that's smacked firmly, and that's gone way over the boundary for 6. Yates has got his eye in. It's 6s and 7s here. Warwickshire 185 for no wicket in the 32nd over. And there's going to be a change from the David Road end.
Returning to bowl at the David Road end,
Andy Gorvin, who started at the opposite end, but no wickets to report. Timmy van der Hoogten 6 overs, 2 maidens, none for 13. He'll be brought back on. Harry Potmore 7 overs, none for 42. Zain ul Hassan 6 overs has yielded 33. Andy Gorvin, who's about to start, 5 overs for 20. Here he comes past the umpire, bowls Fuller, and it's a firmly driven shot into the offside, and it's hurled back from the man at deep extra cover for a single, which brings Yates to strike. So 1 timed shot will bring his century. Just surveying his options is Rob Yates as Gorvin starts his run up from the David Road end past the umpire, bowls, good length ball, and that's cut, but there's no run as Callaway saves the single at point. These two now looking imperious and dangerous from a Glamorgan point of view. The run rate creeping up to 6 now with almost 19 overs remaining. Looking to make hay in the sunshine. Literally here at the Gnoll as Gorvin comes in. Bowls Fuller, struck firmly into the onside with the man at wicket, mid-wicket, stops a single, and there's no run. Just to complete the list of the bowlers, Kieran Carlson's 4 overs has yielded 50 runs. Ben Callaway 3 overs, no maidens, 0 for 27. Gorvin comes in, and that's a full toss, and not quite timed. It's driven on the offside. There's no run as it's fielded at mid-off. So Yates 1 blow from a very impressive century here at the Gnoll. Still glorious conditions in this one-day cup match. Gorvin in, good length ball, and there'll be no run. It's fielded at cover by Kieran Carlson. Glamorgan 1-1, lost one. Lost their opener against Worcestershire, but hit back against Derbyshire. And the game 48 hours ago here was a washer against Durham. Games to come against Sussex, Gloucestershire, Somerset and Northants. Gorvin in. Slower ball that time, and that's whipped away into the leg side through mid-wicket. And there'll be a single that takes Robbie Yates to 98 on the verge of his century. Fantastic partnership, which has brought 187 for Warwickshire. And they'll be hoping to drive this advantage home in the last 18 overs. That is the end of Andy Gorvin's over. Warwickshire 187 for no wicket. Yates 98, Barnard 79. And they are really, Mike, in the driving seat.
We don't often get into a position like this as a team, or indeed as two batters, neither of whom has... Ed Barnard is looking for his first one-day ton. Rob Yates is still at the early stage of his career, so any landmark like this would be a major achievement. And Al Hassan is bowling to him now, and this is not quite going to be it. It's his 99th run as he drives firmly to mid-off. Those 2 sixes off Carlson have driven the Warwickshire captain out of the Glamorgan captain out of the bowling attack for the moment.
Well, I'm not surprised. 40 runs yielded in those 50 and 4.
Where's he going to plug these overs from, though? Al Hassan, who's switched ends of late. Barnard tries to scoop.
I think there's an optimistic shout.
The captain heard something, but nobody else did.
Yeah, Al Hassan swapping sides, incidentally. He's mainly been used from the Dyfed Road end, now at the Oakwood Road end.
Yes, it's the first time he's come from there, but they're all coming alike to Ed Barnard at the moment. Though he's missed the last 2. He's tried to ramp it. And he's got a little bit stuck at 79. He tries to get out of it, and he's holed out at mid-off, and Barnard's innings has ended at 79 and the opening partnership at 188. And if you could be disappointed with that, it's only because I think he thinks he's missed out on something bigger. A first one-day ton appeared to be very much within his compass, but he's driven Al Hassan to mid-off, and Ed Barnard is first out in the get out of it, he's holed out at mid-off, and
a simple catch
Barnard's
for Timmy van der
innings has ended at...
Yeah, I'm with you. It was firmly struck. It's just a crack, that lovely crack of the willow. But
get out of it, and he's holed out at mid-off, and Barnard's innings has ended at 79 in the opening partnership.
Glamorgan desperately needed.
Well, and not a moment before time. And Barnard departs, 79 from 88 deliveries. Yeah. And he's replaced by Michael Burgess, I think, coming in ahead of Will Rhodes. This is Burgess, the wicket-keeper for Warwickshire in the Championship and in this competition.
Is that just a tactical thing, trying to drive home this advantage?
I think they'd be forming a queue at this point.
Well, quite.
But Burgess is certainly a positive player, stroke maker, and he'll be eager to get on with it. has made a few runs in the competition so far, an unbeaten 33 to take Warwickshire over the line against Gloucestershire on Monday. And now, what a time to come in and bat. The pressure's off. Your mate's going well at the other end, and there's a tremendous platform on which to go and enjoy yourself, he'll be hoping.
Yeah, he can chance his arm a bit here.
Well, if you're ever going to get licensed to play attacking strokes, today's the day. Al-Hassan bowls, and he starts by having a look at the first one and defending it firmly on the offside. Al-Hassan, the first bowler to strike today in his 7th over. There's been a fair bit of thankless work gone in so far from the Glamorgan seamers. And there might be quite a bit more to come. Here's Burgess pushing his first run into the extra cover gap and out to Gorvin, protecting the boundary. So he's away with 1.
It has been the tale of the season, though, with a dearth of options at times for Glamorgan. No Rory McIlroy today.
Yeah.
Jamie McIlroy, rather.
Well,
I've quite often slipped into that.
He'd have scored a few runs here, Rory McIlroy.
He would have.
It's a long ball here.
He would have.
Al-Hassan is going to bowl to Yates on 99, and he drives square on the offside and finds the fielder.
Yeah, you quite often dip into Rory McIlroy because it's Rory Smith is the other seamer.
Yes. 99 to Yates at the end of the over. 1 to Burgess. Al-Hassan has finally succeeded. 1 for 35 in 7. But Warwickshire, they've got to guard against losing any momentum, because sometimes that's what wickets can, when they fall, it takes away some of the momentum you've generated, because from this point they will be wanting north of 300.
Well, that is the hope for Glamorgan, that a wicket, a few come in clusters, as Callaway now will switch to the Dyfed Road end. 3 for 27 so far. Ben Callaway. So Burgess, the new man in, on strike. Yates on 99. In comes Callaway and firmly struck, and is it 1 bounce for 4? Just plugged short. Thought he was going to go all the way for 6 at one point. Short boundaries here at the Gnoll, but in comes Callaway.
I think we've got the idea of
firmly
how
struck,
play, though,
and
number 3.
1
Struck
bounce
well
for 4.
right,
Just he's going to go after Callaway here. Right arm off for a break bowler. The Gwent product, Callaway. Better length that time, but should get 2 here into the offside. The man at deep extra cover hurls it back in, and there's a simple couple to add to Warwickshire's tally. 195 for 1.
Well, this is a tough assignment for a young bowler. Callaway, he's coming in and out of the attack. He's been switched from one end to the other.
Callaway comes in. Fuller, they should be caught by Gorvin, and is. Holds out as Burgess. Well, he's struck the last one firmly, but that time he's picked Andy Gorvin, who was out on the boundary. And as we mentioned, that was the hope for Glamorgan, that one would lead to another. It has, and that's the second man that's back in the shed for Warwickshire, and it's Michael Burgess. Callaway comes in.
Well,
Fuller, they should be caught by Gorvin, and is. Holds out as Burgess.
Keep the hammer down. New
Well, he's
batters come in. You've got Rob Yates.
the last
so
one.
long as he's still switched from one end to the other, along, that's fine.
Callaway comes
Let
in.
other batters
Fuller,
come in and take
they
their
should be
chances.
caught by Gorvin, and is. Holds out
They
as
might feel
Burgess.
the batting conditions
Well,
are
he's
favourable.
struck
There's no reason to
the
suggest
last.
that Glamorgan couldn't make a substantial chase of it. So you can occasionally get caught going a bit too hard, because there are still lots of overs left.
Exactly.
17 overs left. You don't want to waste them.
Yeah, it's not a T20 game. They've amassed 195. So Will Rhodes does now come in, the captain. So Burgess falls, caught Gorvin, bowled Callaway for 7.
We'll see if there's a change of tempo. Not necessarily. But they will want, having built this situation, to make sure that there are still wickets in hand to give it a go. They've got some inexperienced players in the rest of the lineup. Shake and Smith, 2 youngsters. Ethan Brooks, he's only 22 and hasn't had an enormous amount of first-team cricket. So a fair bit of responsibility with these 2 to make the most of the situation they've built.
So I'm reluctant to say that there's any great pressure on Warwickshire, but this is the first time Glamorgan will be trying to build a bit here with 2 wickets falling in 2 overs. Callaway just juggling with the ball, preparing to come in from the David Road end. 3 to go in this over. In comes Callaway. Decent length ball, and it's fielded by Carlson, and there's no run.
And he'll feel a bit better. Look, you know, in this situation, any wicket's a good wicket. Get you in the game.
Trying to build pressure. A few dots wouldn't go amiss here either. And that is the dot ball. Last ball then of Ben Callaway's wicket taking over. Fuller, but it's picked out by Carlson once more. So, better from Glamorgan. And the wicket coming from Callaway's over. 2 and 2 for Glamorgan. Warwickshire 195 for 2.
Well, good for Ben Callaway. That'll make him feel a lot better. They've now got 8 overs out of the 2 spinners altogether. Pricey ones, but nevertheless, they've got through 8 of them. But what of Podmore? Glamorgan need to see him back and able to bowl. And the fact that Kieran Carlson's going to bowl now, having conceded 50 runs in 4 overs, I think suggests they think Podmore might not be.
Yeah, very expensive was the captain, with Yates probably licking his lips here with stuck on 99 from 109 balls, and he will face.
You've seen 2 of his mates go while he's been on 99. Round the wicket comes Carlson, and Yates very carefully places it into the gap to score 100. His first century in this competition this season. Had one last year against Sussex, and now he adds 100 here with a lot of time to go. And his captain, Will Rhodes, might well just be, while he shakes his hand, saying, make sure you feel your boots here.
From 110 balls, 11 fours and 3 sixes.
Well, he got his first championship century of the season at Canterbury a few weeks ago and went on to make it a giant one, 228 not out. And it's the same opportunity here over the next 16 overs to really make a big score. Not of the order of the one that made at Northampton yesterday, but nevertheless a substantial opening for Rob Yates. Rhodes, looking for his first run, goes back and forces the next ball from Carlson square on the offside.
He was the slower of the 2 at the start of this innings with Barnard, but he's caught up.
Rhodes scores his first run into that extra cover gap, and it's 197 for 2. Yeah, I think he's able to play in more than the mode in which he initially came into the team, as a sort of an accumulator and a steady opener, but he's shown in white ball cricket last season and this season, after belatedly getting a chance in the 2020s, that he's a very capable stroke maker too. He gets another run here, pushing this away through extra cover, which is a productive spot at the moment. Cut off the boundaries, Carlson, but there's runs to be had. There's plenty of gaps. Round the wicket he comes and fires this through to Rhodes, who plays it with a straight bat and on the offside.
This is a better over though from Kieran Carlson.
Hasn't contained a boundary as yet. The first over of spin in this game, if he completes it, in which won't have contained a boundary. And here he is, round the wicket to Yates, who mishits that into the ground a bit. I think he was looking squarer than that, but he gets 1 out to long off, so 199 for 2 at the end of the 35th over with 15 to go. Yates 101 and Rhodes 2.
4 coming from Kieran Carlson's 5th over, with Warwickshire on the verge of getting to the 200 mark here at the Gnoll. Sun still shining on this cricket ground, which backs onto the rugby ground in front of us. Neath will be starting their season in the Welsh Premiership next month. Club steeped in history as Callaway continues from the Dyfed Road end, full, and that's whipped away to long on by captain Will Rhodes.
A bit of applause for the 200.
Yeah, ripple of applause coming through from the faithful here. Coming at a run rate of 5.6 at the moment. Callaway full as again. That's steered, caressed into the offside. Hurled back by Ul Hassan. There's only a single. 201 for 2. Yates powering on. 102 from 112. Rhodes, the captain, has just come in on 3. Takes guard. Cut into the offside, but the man, and it is Gorvin, comes round to intercept, and there's no run. Callaway in, and that's dabbed. There's an easy single down to long on, and they just amble through.
We're talking about the start of the rugby season in a few weeks for Neath. We've got this sort of two-paced rugby season at the moment, haven't we? Because I was listening to the radio on the way down. They were talking about the Wales-England game.
Well, indeed. When, as it's cut but stopped at a deep backward point by Gorvin. Well, those are the Rugby World Cup warm-ups. Wales gaining first blood at the Principality Stadium on Saturday, 20 points to 9 victors, and the return fixtures at Twickenham on the weekend, and that's going to be caught at deep mid-wicket, and the field has been picked out by Yates just after getting his century. So that's another quick wicket that's fallen, and there have been a cluster, so that's what pressure does to you. And to be fair, return fixtures at Twickenham, the run rate has slowed ever so slightly in the last 4 or 5. Going to be caught at deep mid-wicket, and the field has been picked out.
As he picked out the man, looked disappointed, because I think he, like Barnard, he's left, although he's 102, he's terrific.
And that's,
I think he probably thinks he left 1 or 2 runs out there as well.
Caught by Tom Bevan, incidentally.
Yeah, soundly taken catch. It also, I wonder, tells us that it is easy to mistime your attacking strokes today. It isn't just a feast, because that's 3 wickets now we've seen in the last 4 overs, all to attacking strokes, all picking out fielders. So it's not just a feast here. It turns out that it's quite easy to get it wrong.
Well, you could see there's that dejected look on his face as he trudged off in frustration. He just picked them, and he thought he should have done better. He just mistimed it slightly. Sound catch taken by Tom Bevan on the deep wicket boundary. Just hopping. He fell awkwardly in making that catch. Just walking slightly gingerly is Tom Bevan. So 202 for 3. Slightly different complexion on proceedings with 14 to go.
Yes, there's an interruption to the momentum for Warwickshire, and Ethan Brooks coming in at number 5 now. A bit of a change in the order as Carlson starts the 37th over, and Rhodes hits the first ball away, the left-hander, into the offside. So Ethan Brooks pushed up the order here. A slightly more experienced player than the 2 who were listed on the card ahead of him, but not necessarily a surprise to see him coming at this point, as Rhodes takes 1 down to long off. He's one of the 2 brothers in the Warwickshire ranks, although not, alas, for much longer, because Ethan is heading to Worcestershire at the end of the season. His brother Henry was very much a part of the 2020 campaign, and he's played some championship cricket, but a lot of congestion for places in Warwickshire's first team. And if he makes a breakthrough at Worcester, he wouldn't be the first to make that journey and find more opportunities there. And he goes back here and gets his first run square on the offside, and it's 204 for 3.
Yeah, there's a bit of back and forth between the 2 counties.
Yes, yeah, there's plenty. It's a short journey.
If geographically,
yes, if you don't do it in the rush hour. And
yes.
Here comes Carlson round the wicket. On the full to Rhodes, who bunts it down the ground for 1.
I think looking for a second there, because even Cian Carlson here has built a bit of pressure. 4 came from the last over, and I think it's all accumulated and put pressure, and as a result, those 3 wickets have fallen.
Yes, they've just slightly drawn their horns back in a bit here, Warwickshire. And maybe, again, they'll have to adjust their sights a bit. Forward comes Brooks and plays it straight back to the bowler. There's a little bit of bounce in Kieran Carlson's step now as well, and not before time. In his 6th over, the Glamorgan captain, and he fields another one of his own bowling, smartly tumbling to his right.
Decent over again.
Yeah. So 7 from his last 2 overs, having taken some frightful tap before that. Brooks is 1 and Rhodes 6. And Warwickshire, after a dip in momentum, are 205 for 3 in 37 overs, which is still pretty regally placed, looking at it from when they were put into bat this morning. But this is the point in the innings where you want to be accelerating, not the other way.
Yeah, Glamorgan will put the brakes on slightly, and they build pressure, resulting in those 3 wickets that have fallen. Rob Yates, Ed Barnard, and Michael Burgess. String down leg side is Callaway. Leg by, that will be called by the umpire. Oh, no, there might have been a bit of bat in there.
And the other thing that's happening, I think, at the moment is that we've got 2 spinners bowling together for the first time in the match, and you can smuggle a few overs almost past the batters. They're not taking any time, and the batters are suddenly in the mood to be a bit more cautious.
2 wickets for Callaway. That's swept, and it won't be intercepted by Ul Hassan. Just straying down leg, and that's 4.
Well, that's the first one for
Weil, which is a shame. He'll be
in the mood to be a bit more cautious.
2 wickets for Callaway. That's swept, and it won't be a freebie. Intercepted by, just relieves a bit of pressure in terms of Warwickshire. Callaway coming in, the dab down. Callaway fields, and there's no run. Rhodes on 7. Ethan Brooks, who's just come in, on 5, where Glamorgan will be trying to keep the pressure on. That's into the offside. They look for 2, and seldom have we had 2 runs. It's either been a single or boundaries on this small Gnoll pitch. 211 for 3, run rate is 5.6, so still there or thereabouts with 12.2 to go. Callaway coming around the wicket. Decent length ball. And they were shouting for all sorts there. Caught, stumped. They were Rhodes well inside his crease.
He was very quick there, Alex Horton, but I don't think...
Callaway coming around the wicket.
The replay,
decent length ball.
Rhodes
No. And
lost his balance,
shouting.
didn't lift his foot.
Callaway in, full toss, in fact, and that's pulled into the onside. There's a man out at deep mid-wicket. Another single to Warwickshire and Ethan Brooks' tally. Brooks on 6, Rhodes on 8. Warwickshire 212 for 3 with 12 to go.
So we've had 6 overs each from the spinners now. So
Van der Hoogten must be in the plan now of Kieran Carlson to be brought back. So Carlson continues. He's had a good few overs, 4 coming from his last couple. That'll be a single up to long off.
I have news from the statisticians.
You always like news from the statisticians.
I'll fit it in between Kieran Carlson balls in this over because you can't fit much in.
No.
Carlson's going to bowl, and Brooks is taking on long on and clearing him. For 6, he cleared the picket fence there as well. And now Brooks is starting to pick up the pace again. He's up to 12, and it's 219 for 3. The opening partnership of Carlson's going to bowl, and Brooks is taking on long on and clearing this day cricket for Warwickshire. For 6, he cleared the picket fence there as well. And the record was a good old one. Carlson bowls, and Brooks, I think for a moment he thought he'd hit that back to the bowler on the full, but not quite. Carlson just
taking it on the
gathers
half
it up.
volley,
Yeah, nearly, but not quite. The old record was set by Dennis Amiss and John Jameson, two great names of Warwickshire's past, in 1976. Carlson pushes this through quicker, and the right-handed Brooks, he's hitting it square on the offside for 1 out to Al Hassan. And it was at the Coventry ground, I think I'm right in saying the Courtaulds ground in Coventry, which is one of a number of former outposts of Warwickshire cricket. Carlson round the wicket and rode with a smearing drive out to long off.
Shame in a way with Edgbaston. There's no cricket played elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, especially with so many lovely club grounds around Warwickshire, and they have tried it. There have been a few in recent years. The last was Carlson bowls and reverse attempted by Ethan Brooks, who was in position early but missed it. He was hit on the body. It's the end of the over, 2-2-1 for 3, 9 off that one. The last ones were Stratford, which is a lovely ground, Stratford-on-Avon, Swan's Nest Lane. It's as nice as it sounds. And they had a couple of championship games there that were treated rather unkindly by the weather, which I don't think helped. And they had some T20 games at Rugby School.
Did they?
Which was, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago. But that didn't last for too long. And now
Edward Bevans just pointed out that he was at that game.
When 1976?
No, the one at Rugby.
The Rugby School one, I was going to say. It was tried. I think they had 2 there in successive seasons. They might have had more than that, but it's now just Edgbaston. So
no, we see some of the Middlesex obviously play outside of Lords.
Well, when I was at Canterbury the other week, Radio Kent colleagues were telling us that their one-day cup, all the away games, they're all at seaside grounds. They're playing Lancashire at Blackpool, I think, Yorkshire at Scarborough, and Hampshire on the Isle of Wight.
As Gorvin comes in, he's taking the place of Ben Calloway from the Dyfed Road end. Yeah, many picturesque ground.
And there are difficulties with it these days financially. I know it's a big deal, even just to take all the paraphernalia that teams have with them, not only the media stuff.
Gorving in, Fuller, and that's squirted out on the towards long on.
So it's not quite as simple an operation to just say, well, we'll have a game at an outground as maybe once it was.
No, and the costs involved for these small clubs. Neath play here.
Well, look, look at all the setup around us. Just here in the media area today, because the YouTube pictures and everybody watching that, and that needs a lot of setting up. So the tradition is wonderful, but it's not necessarily as easy as it used to be.
No, but we're glad to be here at the Gnoll. 222 for 3 as Gorvin comes in. That's a good shot off. Whipped away. Backward square. Straight for 4. Nobody needed a move for that one. 226 for 3.
Hasn't taken long to start timing the ball nicely. Gorvin. I noticed now the spinners, Carlson and Kellaway, between them have 13 overs.
Good shot off.
Which means not only the 10 for the sort of 5th bowler they've shared, but they've also used up the other 3 that Harry Podmore hasn't bowled.
Yeah.
So that might mean they can get to the end without a spinner now.
Well, Van der Hoogten has only bowled his 6 overs. Dug in short that time. Through mid-wicket just for a single. It'll be fielded by Ul Hassan. 227 for 3.
They've got 10 more overs to find after this one. So Gorvin's got 3 he can bowl. Van der Hoogten's got 4. And Ul Hassan 3. So they can get there now without the spinners again if Podmore doesn't return, which at the moment it doesn't look as though he's going to.
Gorvin coming in. And that's skied. And the man coming in from the boundary. It's been put down. It was Bevan that raced in. He caught one earlier on to dismiss Yates. Gorvin coming in. And that's went wayward. Skied. And the man coming in from the boundary. It's been put down. Miscommunication possibly between him and Eddie Byram as to who was going to take that catch.
In hindsight, maybe there was another fielder who was near, but once he'd put his name on it.
That was it as Gorvin comes in. So missed chance, and that's caressed into the offside by the man at point fields. There's no run. 228 for 3.
I shall give way at this point to Nick Webb, who's waiting to join you.
As Mike will sidestep his way out from the commentary position to make way for Nick Webb with 10 to go. So slightly stickier patch then, rather, for Warwickshire, with 3 going down, but they're still in a very good position with 10 to go, and this is, of course, the second power play of the Warwickshire innings.
Yeah, it's relatively meaningless at this stage. Just means you can push an extra fielder out. I'm not sure why they bother calling it power plays outside the
what is it,
one.
Maximum of 5 fielders outside the,
yeah,
the 30.
Four inside now, I think. As far as they change the laws or the regulations every other year, it seems.
It's far less crucial in this format.
No, it doesn't really matter once you pass the first 10. So, outfielders at third man, fine leg. Where are we? Point.
Yeah.
No, it's square leg, extra cover, and long on, as that one is smashed over long on and halfway up the stand, as Will Rhodes opening his shoulders there, making the most of his let off and smashing Van der Hoogten for 6. Welcome back. Extra cover.
Well, that was firmly struck. That was
on,
going all the way.
That one is
and into the temporary stand behind the bowler's arm. Don't think it was taken in the ground either.
No, the Glamorgan won't have to give a prize for anyone for that one, maybe, as that one is chopped down on the offside, well fielded by Ul Hassan at backward point. No run there for Will Rhodes, the experienced skipper, formerly with Yorkshire, born in Nottingham, but has been a Warwickshire man for most of his career. 234 for 3. 41st over. 320 is a possibility if they go big. That one's pulled hard towards us, but kicks slightly towards Zain Ul Hassan, the fielder, and that'll be just a single for Will Rhodes.
Well, that's the problem, isn't it? They've got plenty of wickets in hand, so they can chance their arm on this smallish pitch at the Gnoll.
If Glamorgan can keep it under 310, I think they'll have done well from this stage, given the acceleration that Barnard and Yates were putting on the board at one point. 125 at halfway, but they really stepped on it after that. Van der Hoogten is in to bowl, and he beats the forward prod of Ethan Brooks, and it goes through to Alex Horton on the second bounce.
That's probably the first one we've seen that's flirted with the outside edge for a while. There were a few early on where there was a bit of nervousness, but hardly any since.
Yeah. New ball will be key for Warwickshire's bowlers. Glamorgan have been shown that it is possible to dig in and then prosper as Van der Hoogten bowls, and Brooks turns it away on the leg side and will go through for the single out towards mid-wicket. 236 for 3. 3 wickets falling for just 14 runs at one point. Barnard for 79, Burgess for 7, and then Yates for a fine 102 off 110 deliveries. Getting a bit muggier now, a bit of cloud around as well as the heat, unless it's the generator at the back of the tent overheating. 236 for 3. It's not as smoky as it was last year, thankfully. Van der Hoogten from the Oakwood Road end into bowl down leg side, and has that carried the keeper? No,
I think it was
just
taken on the half volley. Yeah, just good fielding if so.
Yeah, there must have been a touch on it because it wasn't signalled a wide, as we'll get a replay on the screen. I don't think it was a chance to Horton. It has been hit, and as you say, on the half volley. So not quite an escape, but a moment of uncertainty for Will Rhodes. 2:36 for 3, 41 overs gone, 9 to come.
Gorvin will continue from the Dyfed Road end. In he comes past the umpire, bowls, good length ball, but it's picked up quickly, but it'll only be a single hurled back by Ul Hassan. Of course, they did hunt down, 299 against Derby, thanks largely, though, to Colin Ingram.
Indeed. Well, there were efforts from others as well. Bevan 44, Byram 30, Carlson 65, Root 34 not out, so everyone chipped in.
But Ingram absent as Gorvin comes in. Slower ball that time, chopped into the ground, down to the offside, another single, northeast fields.
Harry Podmore was standing on the balcony looking rather disconsolate for a while when I was off commentary.
Well, so, yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see him out for a game or two.
Gosh, they've been hampered by injuries as Gorvin comes in, takes the pace off that one. And the man at wideish long on fields.
Yeah, Will Smale at least enjoying a spell of time on the pitch, even if he's not actually going to be involved in a batting sense.
12th man. He's out fielding on the boundary, on the long off boundary now, as the left-handed Rhodes takes guard. Round the wicket then comes Gorvin. But they'll run the first one. They look for two and they'll get it. Good running. And that's a very rare couple taken. No, it's either singles or boundaries.
Yeah, I think there Rhodes knew that he'd played it fairly softly and that there were no infielders. So it was one where you can stick your head back and aim for two from the start.
Gorvin's pace allowing that to happen. Upish from Rhodes, but safe. The man comes in from long on, just a single, 242 for 3, Rhodes 23. Ethan Brooks 21, so these getting into the groove now as well.
Yeah, not quite with such the same regularity of boundaries that Yates and Barnard were towards the tail end of their knocks.
Last ball of Gorvin's over, and that's whipped round the corner, one bounce, 4-4, and comprehensively struck by Brooks. Picked that one very, very quickly.
Yeah, 25 off 18
Last
balls
ball
now for Ethan Brooks, promoted over up the order.
And that's whipped round the corner, one bounce. Gorvin down leg side. 4-4 gave enough room for Brooks to whip it decisively.
Yeah, scattering a few drinkers, I think.
Yeah, it was
process.
down to the hospitality tent, enjoying
pint or five.
Sort of liquid lunch. It's supposed to lunch now.
246 for 3 then, 8 overs to come as Van der Hoogten consults. The ball eventually coming back. Umpire Bolden having a look at it. And Van der Hoogten to continue then. Gorvin's now bowled 8 overs, 0 for 39.
Probably just have to plug away here, hoping the wickets will just curb Warwickshire a bit.
Yeah, Brooks has certainly started with a bang. Rhodes slightly less so, as he drives through the offside up to wide long off. They'll look for two, but the throw comes in and they're deterred from coming back for the second. 247 for 3 here on BBC Sport Online. Kenneth Davis, Mike Taylor, myself, Nick Webb. The sun's still out, but there is not much blue sky visible from peering out under the tent.
Although we can't see here, Nick, it's like the Rodney Parade factor. You never see the ball going up. And under the hazel stand.
As Van der Hoogten bowls up in the block hole, driven towards mid-off, and Brooks will hassle through for a quick single because Callaway is set back right on the edge of the fielding circle, as nearly everyone is at this stage of the innings.
Yeah, Glamorgan not helped obviously by Podmore's absence in terms of the overs. Sure, what was this? Did you just pull up?
looked like he jarred a knee on the way through. I couldn't really see what area of the body was being treated, but he did go into the pavilion. Van der Hoogten bowls, hit through the leg side by Rhodes, but you could hear you could hear the frustration from the batter for a change. He knew he hadn't quite middled that. Came off the toe. Know how you feel, old son. 2:49 for 3, Warwickshire, 43rd over. On BBC Sport Online.
It's a good crowd here.
It is standing room only.
Obviously, they missed out on Tuesday.
Yeah, it certainly is an argument for retaining these fixtures in the One Day Cup. They have been well supported. I think this one is the most packed of the 3 we've had so far. Short, pulled away on the leg side, but not timed at all by Brooks, and the ball just bounces harmlessly halfway to Tom Bevan on the boundary.
Well, especially when there's no St Helens now, unfortunately, which is a shame.
Indeed.
Obviously, other grounds have been used over the years. Colwyn Bay, Abergavenny, Ebbw Vale.
Absolutely. It's Glamorgan do need to get to the west of their patch and possibly slightly more regularly than they are at the moment. Van der Hoogten bowls, sort of pulled up towards long on by Rhodes. Brooks wanted to second. Rhodes could see the throw-in coming at speed. 250 up for Warwickshire, 3 wickets down, 43rd over. A healthy target. The crowd have applauded politely for the Warwickshire boundaries and landmarks, but they haven't had too much to applaud in the way of wickets. 2 to Callaway and 1 to Ul Hassan as Brooks goes for the pull, but again he's on the shot too early and he's gloved it somewhere towards leg slip, and Horton retrieves it. So Brooks not quite timing a couple of big heaves. Van der Hoogten maybe varying up his pace a little bit more than he has in the past. 251 for 3 with 7 overs left for Warwickshire to potentially make hay. The sun is still shining.
Yeah, he's been charging away as Tim Van der Hoogten with no reward. 8 overs, no wickets, 26 runs yielded in.
Well, this is interesting, going back to Callaway. Well, we'd been totting up the figures and we thought that they'd get through with the seamers. That this is an interesting task for the youngster.
Callaway coming in, good length ball, and just evades him. He's trying to dive to stop the single as they amble through. Do Warwickshire 252 for 3, brings Ethan Brooks on strike, 27 from 21 balls.
So Carlson's bowled 7 overs for 66. This is now Callaway's 7th. He's 2 for 44 at the moment.
Brooks on strike. And it evades the fielder long on, and it goes for 6. Firmly struck. The fielder was interested, I think, momentarily, but it was always going to evade him. On strike. And sweet shot. It evades from Brooks. The fielder long on. Was it Smale? Yeah.
Smale up at long on, the numberless substitute.
Yeah. So perhaps Brooks is going to go after Callaway. That's a chopped and a misfield. I'm not sure if it bounced awkwardly. There's a single taken.
Yeah, Carlson just parrying that one away from cover towards mid-on.
Carlson still in his sun hat. Callaway short run up in short delivery, and that's manufactured into the onside for a single.
Yeah, Glamorgan did produce a few bucket hats for supporters at one point this season, but I haven't seen them sported by the players as England did unremittingly over several weeks. Sold a few probably.
Full toss by Callaway, and that's meat and drink for Ethan Brooks, who gives it what it deserves.
Sold a few probably. Yeah, Callaway
full
has
toss
been
by
tending
Callaway,
to over
and
pitch, and that really
that's
was
meat
a
and drink
toss
for
the batter
Ethan Brooks.
to use his feet. So Brooks providing some useful late impetus for Warwickshire.
No chance for Ul Hassan on the boundary. Short that time, and that could be hauled out. Yes, it is. It's caught by Smail at long on. Not quite timed by Brooks that time, and he falls for 38, bowled by Callaway, caught by Will Smail. So a wicket that Glamorgan desperately need to put the brakes on Warwickshire's innings. They're now 264 for 4.
Chance
for Ul Hassan.
Yeah, nice
on
little
boundary.
knock from
Short that
Ethan
time,
Brooks, though.
and that could be hauled out. Yes, it is. It's caught by Smail
the bottom
at
end.
long on.
And Smail was able to
Not
come forward a few
quite
metres at
timed by
long
Brooks
on
that time,
and take the catch. But the damage has been done as far as the home side is concerned.
Third wicket for Callaway, 3 for 56 now.
Yes, the second 3-wicket haul he's had in the space of a couple of matches. He was 3 for 41 off 8 up at Derby. A bit more expensive today. 3 for 56 off 7. But everyone really, apart from Van der Hoogten, has been tucked into to a certain extent. As the Warwickshire worm resumes its upwards wiggle. Kay Smith, the teenager, wearing 18, is the new batter. Played all the One Day Cup last year for Warwickshire, so it's good to see them using this as a development tool. Can keep wicket, although we expect Burgess to do so today. And Zain Ul Hassan will come back.
Yeah, Kay Smith, born in Dubai, moved to Kent.
But it is Rhodes on strike as Ul Hassan starts a new over, driven firmly towards long on, all along the ground, fielded by Gorvin, single taken. So, youngster really in a pressure-free situation, Kay Smith, and potentially Hamza Sheikh after him. You know, if they
17-year-old.
if they get runs, then all well and good. If they don't, well, their team's still in a strong position anyway, and someone else can have a slog behind them.
Yeah, Hamza Sheikh, England _19 player.
Yeah, Glamorgan were very pleased to have Henry Hurl selected for the latest England under-19s as Ul Hassan bowls, and that's fenced into the offside. They'll take a quick single. Well, that wasn't entirely convincing from Smith. It was played slightly uppishly, and it was a risky single, I suppose. It's the sort of risk
would have had a shy there.
Yeah. Risk that maybe you take at this stage. We're in the 45th over. And Smith is off the mark, and the more experienced Rhodes can take strike. As Ul Hassan bowls up in the block hole, driven firmly along the ground to long off by Rhodes. Just the single, 267 for 4. It's getting decidedly muggy within the confines of the tent. Temperatures going up. I think it's meant to be the warmest day in South Wales this week.
Well, it's not difficult, is it?
Not much to beat. Well, it was quite warm on Tuesday. It was just horribly wet as well. Ul Hassan into Smith, who plays that one. Oh, to mid-wicket, and Carlson's misfielded horribly. And Smith can help himself to a single as Carlson lifted his head. Normally the finest of fielders, but made a bit of a schoolboy error on that one. 268 for 4 are the visitors. Ul Hassan from the Oakwood Road end. 2 balls left, his 8th over, driven firmly by Rhodes on the leg side, but straight to northeast at mid-wicket. Single taken, 269 for 4. Will we see fireworks in these closing 5 overs of the innings? Smith with a couple of singles off the 2 balls that he's faced. Asking a lot for a teenager to start finding the boundaries straight away. Maybe he'll just be happy with pushing the 1s and 2s. No, he's firmly nailed that one, and it's just past a diving Gorvin at mid-off. It's run away for 4. Fielder up in the circle, but if that had been a touch wider, It might have been head high to Gorvin, but Kai Smith has his
Finding the
first
boundary
straight away.
think
Maybe
that's
he'll
your
just be
answer,
happy
Nick.
with pushing the ones out. Giving himself room, stepping back and smashing it past mid-off for 4. 273 for 4, and there are 5 overs left of the innings. It was 228 at 40, so we've had 45 runs at 9 and over in the last 5.
I suppose exactly the time you want to come in as a teenager. 270 odd on the board. Chances are, take a few risks with 5 overs remaining of the 50. And Will Rhodes there, and that is hit out to long off as a single. 274 is Warwickshire's tally.
Yeah, fielders scampering all over the place. Glamorgan having to make sure they have enough in the circle. The minimum 4, which is all they have. 3 back on the leg side, on the slightly shorter side of the ground, especially with the rope brought in.
Gorvin, no wickets for 40 as he comes in. Slower ball that time, and that's upish but safe.
It's gone
Oh,
all
it's
the way.
gone all the way.
Didn't look to be perfectly
No.
timed by Smith, does it? But he's got a maximum. Well done, young man.
All the way into the offside.
Over cover. Just about cleared the boundary.
Didn't take much to get his eye in. Swiftly struck in the end. And just made it all the way.
He's stepping back, isn't he? Giving himself plenty of room.
Gorvin in. And didn't time that when he was looking to hit it over the mid-wicket boundary, but it ricocheted off the toe end of the bat and it's been caught. So that little cameo of Kai Smith has come to an end, caught by Byram.
He's stepping back, isn't he? Giving himself plenty of room.
Gorvin over the mid-wicket boundary, toe
end
end
of
and
the
didn't
bat.
time that when he was looking to hit it over the mid-wicket boundary, but
Yeah, a bit of a
ricocheted
drag,
the toe
wasn't
end
it?
of the
As you
bat,
say, it
and
went
it's been
almost
caught.
180
So
degrees away from
that
where he
little
was aiming at.
cameo of Case Aerial and caught easily by Eddie Byram. So Smith falls for 12. That's the 5th wicket to go. And it is Hamza Sheikh coming in, the 17-year-old.
Yeah, one teenager replacing another in the Warwickshire middle order. Glamorgan have got the 2 teenagers in their lineup today in the form of Kellaway and Horton, which is one of the positive points left for the counties, who are denuded of so many frontline players in some cases. Glamorgan losing just Cook and Douthwaite to the 100, but Lloyd moving on loan for to Derbyshire, coming back for September.
And leaving permanently then. As Gorvin comes in. 3 balls to go in this over. Bit slower that time, and that's cut away into the offside. That'll be an easy single. 281. Rhodes 32. Hamza Sheikh off the mark straight away.
And Kieran Carlson, thanks to David Lloyd's injury earlier this season now, though, has got captaincy experience in all 3 formats. Quite a lot of captaincy experience for a 25-year-old.
Gorvin from the Divot Road end. Good length ball, but that's struck sweetly for just a single. Down to long on.
Billy Root charging in typically busy fashion.
Always fielding on. He's got a good armour on the boundary. Which brings Hamza Sheikh to the crease. Gorvin bowls. An easy single once more to long on. So just methodically going about his business is Hamza Sheikh at the moment. With 4 overs to go. Warwickshire nearing the 300 mark. They're 283 for 5.
Yeah, wicket, but still 10 runs in that over. So Warwickshire should now get past the 300 mark very comfortably indeed, unless something remarkably happens in the last 4. Well, we've had must be close to a record of bowling changes today. Everyone operating in 1 and 2 over spells, and really the Glamorgan attack was under pressure, wasn't it, from the start, and the loss of Harry Podmore didn't really help. He was bowled 7 overs before his withdrawal from the field, having taken a tumble while fielding.
Well, Timmy van der Hoogten, who's going to resume, probably the most economical note for 26, but no reward in terms of wickets.
Yeah, he has bowled tightly though. Has kept them under control. Can he continue to do so? Van der Hoogten is in, and that one is off a leading edge out on the offside.
It was a bit streaky. Just
for the single, as Sam Northeast runs round in front of us. One more to Sheikh, who moves on to 3 not out. It's probably better that Rhodes has the majority of the strike at this stage for Warwickshire. 33 off 38. Hasn't quite matched up to the striking rate from Brooks, who was 38 off 25, and Smith 12 off just 5 balls, so he didn't have any let up. Van der Hoogten to Rhodes. Slow. Oh, it's missed. Has that one hit the helmet on the way through as well? It is it's just scooped back inside the boundary by Smale.
And
then falls over, and they're able to take another one. Right, that is wides and 4 runs. Oh, the umpire has signalled. Have any let up? Van der Hoogten for a boundary force. Slow. Oh, it's missed. Has that one hit the helmet on the way through as well?
Come into play.
It is. Smale then put a foot over the boundary when he got back up. He's tapped it back, I think, just about all right, although the umpire might have had other views.
Oh, there.
Ah, yes. He has touched the ball while he was trying to keep it in. So 5 wides, as this one will be just a single for Rhodes. Full length ball turned on the leg side. Ul Hassan with the fielding in front of us at backward square. So it wasn't a great ball. Horton was deceived by the lack of speed, and Smale slipped while trying to keep it inside the boundary, so no one comes out of that with much credit from the Glamorgan point of view.
What are they going to be looking at here? 320 if they can?
Yeah, 320 is realistic now, isn't it? 3.4 overs left. Short ball pulled away on the leg side. Single, 2 runs to Hamza Sheikh as he comes back quite comfortably for the second run,
which will be a tough ask without the powerhouse Colin Ingram.
Yeah, someone's going to have to get going. Chris Cook, of course, is also absent from the Glamorgan top order. Sam Northeast got 177, Glamorgan's record one-day cup score at Worcester last year. Bevan, of course, has got a little bit of history here with an innings of 134 against Hampshire. Van der Hoogten bowls, carved away on the leg side by Sheikh. He's found the gap there, scattering the spectators just in front of square. Timed that one nicely.
Good, yeah.
And Sheikh coming in and galloping on straight away. Van der Hoogten bowls, carved away on the leg side by Sheikh. He's found the gap there, scattering the spectators just in. Just 17 years old, born in May 2006. The players are getting younger.
That's not right, is it? That can't be right.
Surely not. Van der Hoogten bowls, and Sheikh will get 4 more with another little wristy pickup. This time over short fine leg. Racing away for 4, and
that can't be right.
Surely
Pace there as well.
Van der Hoogten for the 300 and Sheikh will get 4 more with another little wristy pickup in his first 8. This time over is going round the park. 300 up, and we've still got 19 balls off this innings left, so rapidly recalibrating upwards to 330, I think, Warwickshire at this point. As
well, just straying down leg. The previous shot was a far better shot.
Yeah. So fine leg is pushed back, square leg is back on the boundary now that Hamza Sheikh has shown his strength in that area, and Van der Hoogten bowls a slowish full toss that's hit out to mid-wicket for just the single.
I think he got away with that.
May have been looking to bowl a low full toss, but the combination of the slower ball and the full toss was a high risk. 301 for 5, 3 overs to come here on BBC Sport Online.
Yeah, well, as we've mentioned, Nick, I mean, ordinarily they chase down 299, but in the absence of the more prolific batters, even on this pitch, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, they'll need to get well set, because Warwickshire showed that you don't have to go hard at it right from the start. 125 at the 25 over mark, but looks like being 200 in the second half of the innings.
Yeah, Rhodes on 34. Hamza Sheikh, who's looked very, very comfortable at ease at the crease, is shifted onto 14 from 7, the run rate 6.4. So Ul Hassan has been brought back into the attack from the Dyfed Road end, so they're going to push on here in the final 3 overs of the 50. In comes Ul Hassan, quickest of the Glamorgan bowlers, but that's whipped away into the leg side. Northeast will come round to field, and it's a single. Yeah, that start really put Warwickshire in a commanding position. The partnership between Yates and Barnard.
Well, you could afford then to have the wobble with 3 wickets going for 14 runs and still press on after that.
Not too many demons in the pitch, though, as Hassan comes in. Launched into it. Fantastic blow by Rhodes over mid-wicket, all the way for 6.
That's cleared the rugby stand, isn't it?
It's gone in to the rugby field. So Mike Price will be after that one. Hassan comes in. Launched into it. Fantastic blow by Rhodes over mid-wicket, all the way for 6. Many years.
Who aren't up on it? Is he still
I'm not sure. I haven't seen Mike for many a year. Hope he's well.
Neath now not quite the powerhouse they were in the 80s.
Yeah, when the cowshed opposite would have been parked to the rafters. I remember being there for the South African touring game of '94, the Battle of the Gnoll.
Oh gosh!
When there were many
blood spattered occasion,
different times.
Blood spattered occasion that was.
Fists were going that night, I can tell you. James Dalton being one of them, the hooker, and Andrew Kembry, if I remember, was caught in a melee.
Not backwards and coming forwards.
As Ul Hassan comes in, fuller that time. And it is taken by wicket-keeper Horton. Yeah, South Africa just winning. I don't think it was, but it was a midweek game.
Did they win the fight, though?
Ul Hassan wheels round. 308 for 5. Full again, but it's the toe end of the bat out to... wide-ish long on, a single taken. So Rhodes almost a runner ball. Hamza Sheikh, who looks more than a promising player at the other end.
Well, it's remarkable considering he played a whole campaign at the age of 16 last year, didn't he? Very composed he looks.
Ul Hassan bangs that one in short. That's going to go over us. Right over, hits
is that our broadcast fan?
The broadcast fan on the way. I hope our engineer's okay.
We didn't issue him with his helmet. That sounded metallic.
Ul Hassan bangs that one in short. That's going to go over us.
If you're watching on the stream, you can see our 10th there.
Picked out brilliantly by Hamza Sheikh. He's on to anything that's dropped short. Whacked away, straight and true, and he's moved, well,
21
motored on to 21 of 9. That's Hamza Sheikh. So last ball of Zain Ul Hassan's over the 48th. In he comes past the umpire. Full again, and there's an appeal, and that's out. Out LB. And that is Zain Ul Hassan's second wicket. And the final ball of the over. And Hamza Sheikh's cameo comes to an end. 48.
That was an entertaining little cameo, wasn't it?
In he
21
comes
off 10 balls going across his stumps there.
Probably would have hit off stick.
Struck fairly low down, and although the ball raced away towards the boundary, up went the umpire's finger. Warwickshire 6 down.
48.
As you so often find wickets going fairly regularly in the closing overs.
Full again, and there's an appeal.
Lintos in at 8 then, spin bowler. Briefly for
he's been around the houses,
Hampshire
hasn't
and
he?
Gloucestershire, yeah, school teacher in the Taunton area.
Didn't play for Southern Brave as well, I'm sure he.
Yeah, he has got 100 experience, but a couple of years back when I interviewed him pre-100, he was still having to get time off school basically to play in the.
He'd be all right
now. He'd be all right at this time. Yeah. I'm not sure whether he's still got teaching interests or not. So Andy Gorvin it is to bowl from the Oakwood Road end after Tim van der Hoogten conceded a couple of boundaries and 5 wides in his most recent over. Gorvin in to bowl to Rhodes, who swings and has hit it up to a long on for a single. So the new man Lintott is on strike. He's already done his bit with the ball in this campaign. Got 3 for 43 against Somerset at Taunton in the opening game for Warwickshire. As Mike Taylor will come in and deliver a final verdict on this excellent Warwickshire innings. Reverse attempted, single taken down to whatever that position is then, third man. 316 for 6 in this, 317 for 6 in this 49th over. And well, the youngsters certainly didn't let up the scoring rate, did they?
Freedom of youth.
They enjoyed themselves. As is only right and proper. Gorvin to Rhodes, slow full toss, swung away, up towards long on, sliding stop on the boundary, but going like the clappers was Lintott. I've no idea how he managed to run to there. I think it was always his intention to turn and come back to keep Rhodes on strike. So good selfless running from Jake Lintott. Rhodes, the left-hander, run a ball for his 44. Can he up it as a swing? And that's gone up a long way, and it's caught by Eddie Byram at point. So Rhodes goes for 44. It's 319 for 7.
I think that might have been a slower ball from Gorvin and quite cleverly bowled if it was.
Run a ball for his 44.
Rhodes was
Can he up it?
mistiming that.
As
right
a swing, and that's gone up a long way, and it's caught by Eddie Byram
slog, but
at point. So Rhodes goes for 44. It's 300. 44 off 45.
It took him a while to get timing the ball, really, but
yeah, I think there are lessons to be learnt for the Glamorgan batters in this innings, aren't there? That you can go hard at it, but you really need to take maybe a few overs, not just balls, to get the pace of the pitch, because it's not coming on hugely fast.
It might be a quite old-fashioned game of one-day cricket in that way, where the traditional method is you play carefully and you keep wickets in hand and then you go hell for leather at the end. That went out of fashion years ago.
Well, people go hell for leather at any stage of the innings sometimes.
True.
Gorvin bowls and played back to him by the new man, Craig Miles. So Booth and Hannon Dolby are the men still available to Warwickshire. But they may not be needed with only 7 balls of this innings left here on BBC Sport Online. Gorvin charging in, hiding the ball, medium pace, a swing and a bottom edge for 4. Miles has got away with some good fortune there. Maybe Gorvin just charging in, hiding towards medium pace, a swing and a bottom edge for 4. Miles has got away, was up in the circle with some 3:23 for 7 now, with the final over of the innings on its way, and I think Glamorgan's fielders will be very glad to get off the park, because they have been under the cosh.
Yeah, and I mean, these are quite long sessions, aren't they, anyway? And particularly if you're doing a lot of chasing. They're going to perhaps ask people to stay off the outfield, I suspect, at the break.
Yeah, I think normally they'd allow people to play softball games on the outfield, but
I think that's understandable.
Yeah, the umpires apparently were very concerned when they got to the ground this morning about the state of the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are parts of it. I mean, 88, which I'm informed